Arguably one of the Nintendo 64's most noteworthy franchises, Turok enjoyed a run of success on Nintendo's console with 3 well-received installments and a multiplayer spin-off, all of which would be console exclusives to the system. But by 2002, with 3 competing consoles on the market and Acclaim suffering from financial woes, a multi-platform dino venture seemed inevitable, and Turok Evolution, a prequel to the original, would mark such a game, as well as the debut on a Sony console. But it doesn't live up to the lofty expectations of its predecessors, largely due to technical woes and frustrating gameplay. Story has never been the focal point of Turok, but serving as a prequel to the 1997 original, Evolution seeks to change that. As Tau Set battles with Captain Bruckner, going as far to hack his arm off, both are dragged into a wormhole, which drops our protagonist into a jungle canopy and nearly kills him. But when a village tending to his wounds is attacked by reptilian monsters known as the Slegs, it's up to Tau Set to accept the mantle of Turok and fight in the war against these predators. It's barely worth mentioning though, because the story is thinly written, littered with bland and poorly voiced characters, and feels almost non-existent, with scant cutscenes adding little to the game. Taking place across a whopping 15 chapters, spread into 65 levels, Turok Evolution contains a mix of tighter shooting sequences, more expansive levels, which can lead to stealth, and some flying sections where you partake in dogfights. It's a lengthy game, but not necessarily one which keeps you engaged. None of the lone elements are particularly bad, but they can be compounded by sometimes broken AI. Enemies will not respond to you shooting them, dinosaurs can be fooled with circle strafing, and stealth can often be achieved by simply running back into the previous area, causing the AI to reset. The dogfights don't really suffer from this issue, offering some neat shooting galleries to spice up the action. But what Turok lacks in AI finesse, it makes up for with guns. The selection of weaponry here is simply satisfying, with a large range of guns which keeps the action fresh. You come equipped with the tech bow, offering standard quivers as well as poison and explosive, as well as meaty pistols, shotguns and rocket launchers. There's a lot of bizarre weaponry too, including the dark matter cubes, which suck enemies into a vortex, the electric plasma cannon, and a flechette gun, which doubles as a minigun. The way many of the guns turn enemies into bloody chunks, the gruesome headshots, and visceral gunplay make Turok's combat stand out. The more expansive levels offer an opportunity for stealth as well, including bow for silent kills, and these really have a neat sense of scale. Unfortunately, it's undone by a woeful technical performance. At times both ambitious and nauseating, Turok's large levels and intensely patched scenarios often cause the game to drop to a crawl. It can adversely affect gunplay, making it very hard to shoot your target. This is compounded by an unforgiving checkpoint system, which means that upon your death, you're sent back to the start of a mission, meaning dozens of minutes of gameplay can be lost. Some of the latter levels, involving death traps which can instantly kill you, are particularly painful. Instead of feeling a sense of satisfaction, you feel relieved to escape Evolution's frustrating moments, and it becomes a slog to even reach the game's conclusion. It feels like these technical hiccups are more due to the density of the levels, rather than the quality of the graphics. Nothing looks particularly impressive here, with flatly lit environments and dated textures, bland looking enemies and wildlife, and drab shading and effects. The only praise is the advancement of fog being almost absent compared to the fogging found in Nintendo 64 releases. The audio doesn't fare much better, with muddy sounding effects dampening the auditory experience, bland voice acting, and generic music which adds nothing to combat. The guns, when not audibly muddied, do pack a punch though. There is some solace to be found in a side dish of multiplayer though. The selection of levels have been designed exclusively for skirmishes, and while it's limited to 2 players, the inclusion of wildlife which can attack you and unique weaponry is pretty cool. It offers a nice sidebar, but ultimately is not enough to rescue the solo campaign. At times both sprawling and frustrating in equal measure, Turok Evolution can only be seen as a disappointment compared to its predecessors. It feels like the concepts are sound, but it's undone by a woeful technical performance, which dogs the gunplay at every turn, too many frustrating moments to count, and a general air of blandness, whether it's the forgettable story, drab visuals, or uninspired sound. Fans may be able to stomach the flaws, but anyone unfamiliar with Turok would do well to avoid this one.
It is not your time to die.
When he wakes,
Bring him to me.